Hi there folks, I'm John. Welcome to the wood shop. Today I want to go over our stacking shop storage project that I've been trying to get finished this week. I thought what would be nice would be individual boxes that most of the time for me live in the shop. But I don't have to actually move these boxes around to have access to the tools in them. So instead of an opening lid, I did drawers. I wanted the drawers to be able to lock so they couldn't fall out under transport. So I can pull this out, use it around the shop if I want to. I can leave it in place, access the tool. It does have a locking tab, so these can't pull out. And of course they have handles, so if I want to just take this and go, I can grab these two and go wherever I need to. This is stacked up a little bit taller than I initially had planned. I do have this whole thing on casters, and it is pretty good. If I really wanted to, I could get this thing to tip over. Even running almost 5 feet in height, it's still pretty stable. The outside of the drawer is 10 inches, but the case themselves are 12 with a depth of 18. So here's the actual box. Folding handle. That can go either way. What this is sitting on, you'll notice there's a gap under here. I have a couple of runners or feet that are inset the thickness of the sides, and that's actually what's allowing the next box on top to click into place. So again, no locks holding these together, but the feet on this one just lock into kind of the fencing up on top, and that is enough to keep this from going anywhere. What I wanted to do next is go through how this is locking and actually show a little bit more detail on the mechanism there. Let's go over to the bench and work on that lock. So here we're up close with a locking tab I haven't done the finish work on compared to one I have. So on this particular piece, I have a screw actually behind this stop to limit its travel. Without any stop behind it, this just falls out. So it has a bit of a friction fit, so it really won't just fall out with gravity. But when I go to pull this out now, you can see how it comes up, and if gravity took over, then I can't get the thing to shut. So what we need to do is actually drill a hole in the body here, and what I'm doing to actually hold this is I have just a wood screw that locks right in that hole, and that keeps that in place. I already have this marked out. I was considering doing maybe a routed slot in the back until I did my measurements and realized I need about a 1/2 inch slot or a 1/2 inch of travel. And from that I thought, well, let's just keep it simple and drill a hole. So I'm going to drill a hole about halfway through this material with a Forstner bit, so it'll be a nice flat bottomed hole that'll be clean, and we'll do that at the drill press. But yeah, just showing this again, this is just beveled at 45 degrees at the table saw, and then this little pole is just glued right on the face. So we glued it on. Time will tell to see how secure that is. Later on down the line, if it needs to be, a screw could be run from the back just to really secure that. Let's drill that out, get that hole, and then we'll work on the corresponding location to put that screw in the actual drawer front. I just have a scrap block to elevate the workpiece over what I usually am using as a sacrificial backer for drilling. Because the handle is on here, we need to elevate. So I need a block at least thick enough to get this off my table. And again, I'm just using a Forstner bit. I already have my center point marked with an awl, so it's just a matter of drilling these out. And a drill press really makes it nice to get repeatable holes. You could do this by hand, you just have to be careful with how far you go through. You might notice in the middle that the little lead point on that is the thing to be careful of, because if you go too deep, of course, that's going to come out the front side. So that's the only thing to watch out on this is you only have about a 1/2 inch of material. So you don't want to go too deep and just blow right through the other side and then you have a hole. Let's go back and get the drawer box prepped. So while I'm thinking about it, I better call out my measurements. Center point for the hole in the lock is 3/4 of an inch from the top down. All I did was set a combination square to that 3/4 inch depth, and when I was marking these out, struck a line. Centered on its width, these are running for me, after you knock these edges off, about 2 3/16 inch wide. So what is that? 1 3/32 to the center. If it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world. You can enlarge this a little bit if need be. Now on my drawer, I already have marked out that location as well. And just a little tip, this has been sprayed with lacquer, so it's a matte lacquer, but it's still a nice finish, where if you try to mark with a pencil, it really doesn't show up because the finish is hard enough. So I just put a little piece of masking tape there. This measurement is 1 inch. So my initial line was struck just again using my combination square, so I have it set up to do everything. And then measure from side to side. So the inside of these, we're measuring about 10 1/8 inches. So what I actually did was I measured in from each edge 5 1/16, 5 1/16, and then ended up on my center line. So for these, of course, the only thing you can really get in here with is a drill. And for the screw, I am using a number 6 by 3/4 inch long wood screw. And here it is right here. I actually grind the very tip off it so it doesn't come to a sharp point. And if through time, if for whatever reason I need to advance the screw more through this drawer, that point won't basically penetrate the lock and stick in place. So just drill this hole quick. And this is a nice drill with countersink. The countersink is actually from Amana, and it's carbide. But the drill bit, I have replaced the standard twist drill bit with a brad point bit. So as long as I just have a little point from an awl to start, it does a great job of drilling a nice clean hole. So besides the masking tape being great for marking out that location, now when I peel it off, it does also a great job of sealing the face grain here from tear out. The lock travel in its locked position, we're going to be right about there. In its open position, we want just about there. So I'm going to put it about right in the middle. Now let's double check it. So all the way up, I'm not quite to the top. All the way down, it's actually just a little bit past the bottom, and I want that because I don't want it to bottom out or hit the screw before it actually bottoms out. So, yep, right there, and then when we pull up a little bit shy. It's a cool project. I think it's going to get a lot of use around our shop. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.